Chilling with Mr. Stan and Vision right here at VMC Planet Radio. It's exactly 16:31. Like we told you and promised you that this is a hip hop show. We talk about things that are hip, things that are actually happening. You know, our guests. In fact, I also feel like we must not even introduce them. I mean, we're talking about youth, right? And then you see. They do look very, very young, right? Although, you know, if you look at the gentlemen, you can see there's a bit of beards there. You know? I don't know whether they left off the beards because they want to be sexy or what there's a myth around men with beards. You know,
why do I feel like the shot is coming soon?
No. I hear men with beards are trustworthy.
Yeah, okay, now no, it's okay.
No, that's what I hear. But as to whether the ones that we're going to be talking to, you're going to trust them or not, you know, you be the judge, right?
Yeah, I'll judge them.
So, there's one thing I don't understand, right?
Yes.
You know, I don't know the stereotype that they are actually perpetuating, right? Okay. They've got a queen with them. And then they let a queen stand, and then the guys sit.
You know, if I would actually explain,
yeah.
You know, we were these new youngins, you know what I mean? The ladies must lead. You know, they must not feel like you know, you have to always run around pity them. They're taking charge.
Okay.
Yeah, with that generation that allows ladies to take charge.
There's just one thing I already like about you, right? The fact that you can try and make an excuse sound something that is so profound, right? That you use the word, you know what I mean, instead, you know what I mean.
Like he used the full sentence.
He used the full sentence.
Like he didn't even try to abbreviate.
Exactly. Can you put on your headphones?
You know, Mr. Stan, what you just did, man?
Yeah.
You made someone that sits on the other microphone wonder where his right now. You forgot to say that there's only one set. Now he feels guilty that he didn't put them on.
Now, there's this thing that I want to understand before we even start with our discussion, right? So you're wearing a red cap, right? I do not see exactly. Is it pink?
It's pink.
It's very pink.
Okay. It's pink. And then she has got, I wouldn't really say a clean shaved hair, right?
Yes.
And he's got some bit of like hair, you know, within himself, right?
Okay.
So these are three different people.
Yes, as you said, two males that let a female stand.
Yeah. And
I prefer if you put it like, you know, yeah, not like that, because that's not actually, you know,
What happened? Okay.
That's not what it is.
Yeah, his name is Jimmy Ntuli. You know, normally a person that is called Jimmy, it comes from James, right? And then we will abbreviate it to Jimmy. And Jimmy is normally given to those old vendor men. That you find them in the villages, and then when you call them, you say, "Bo Jimmy."
What?
and then you've got Carol Mbokoto. The previous month, we dedicated the whole month for female rappers. We never played anybody else in the show.
Wow.
Right. And you know, like women will always do, right?
Yes.
Whenever either they wear shoes and they will wear a blouse, but it will match with the lips. Is it called a gloss or lipstick?
It's called a rouge.
Oh, it's called what?
A rouge.
Oh, a rouge.
There you have it.
Right. And then
Our generation used to call it a
Onesimo.
rouge.
You know, Onesimo.
Roach. Just
No, his name is not Rouge.
But
No,
not the
no.
rapper, not the hip hop, the rapper.
not what the hip hop is, but now I know there's something else called a roach.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then we've got Onesimo. Guys, welcome to VMC Planet Radio. This is Mr. Stan and Vision.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you
Thank you
so
so
much for
much.
having
Very
us.
humble.
Yeah, and you come from an association. I will call it association. I know it's a foundation, right?
Yes.
But it sounds so good for me to say an association. I don't know why. It's called Active Youth Foundation.
Active Youngins
Younins Foundation.
You know,
Mm.
Active Youngins Foundation. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, Youngin, I know that part. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I'm talking about.
And why do you look at him and say,
Yeah.
what's wrong with me?
I'll explain to you.
That's what I'm talking about.
We know when you say youngin, we know
Exactly, dog.
You, even Tia Empire there is smiling because he
That's what
knows.
I'm talking
Viva
about.
Youngins, Viva.
It looks like I'm outnumbered. But it's
No,
not.
but you can remember, if I'm
You're not
young,
alone, don't worry.
you owe him.
Oh, okay.
Let me tell you this, Stan. I met Jimmy and he told me about the name, like Active Youngins. I'm an English guy, I don't do the schedule thing, so I'm like Active Youngins, because there's no gen in English. So I think we're together on that, right? I'm totally outnumbered as well.
Okay, thank you. And why Active Youngins Foundation?
If I would break it down, I would say, no, we were looking for something that speaks to the youth. And we kind of look for a name that, you know, that comes closer to the youth of today, that will, you know, fit in. So we're playing around, and Active Youngins came to place to say, nah, everybody's using, you know, the slams nowadays, everybody's preferring, you know, and Active Youngins was, you know, the name that we went for. Yeah. So
Okay.
we're looking for something that actually is closer to the youth of today.
Yes.
Oh,
So you looked at the lingo they basically use to get
Yeah.
to reject you.
A name that we actually make youth to
Now, okay. So do you have some kind of a dictionary that I need to maybe get hold of?
You know, you have me, Mr. Stan.
Yeah.
Dictionary just
Oh, yeah.
just see you there.
Sorted.
You don't have to go too
Oh, I
far.
know. Already, we can trick them with the word. They won't even know the answer.
You
Example,
covered. You're
Makandis.
covered.
You can ask them what Makandis mean. They won't know.
Okay. No, okay. Let's start with Jimmy. Who's Jimmy?
Jimmy is an artist, I'm a rapper.
Before you even go further, right?
Yes.
Can I ask you to stay behind up until 17:30 after the interview for the freestyle?
Okay.
I support that.
You know,
I support that.
the K. Why the K without the O?
Because it's rappers, okay.
Okay. Okay. All right, continue.
Yeah, Jimmy is a rapper, I'm a musician, but I'm more into art as a whole, not only box myself in a musician. I'm a person who likes teamwork. I'm a person who likes to be involved in a community work. Yeah, that would be a simple way of describing who Jimmy is.
Oh, Jimmy is. Now let's go to Carol. Can you step closer to the mic, Carol? What's up,
Okay.
Carol?
Yeah, man. I'm trying. I'm also trying with this thing. Yeah. What's up?
Pull it.
Okay, so all right, so
No, it's fine.
I
Yeah.
guess.
Yes, perfect.
Like this?
And you know,
Alright.
it doesn't look like the mic actually likes you, but
No, I think it doesn't.
yeah, because
Doesn't.
yeah. But anyway,
It's the mic. All right.
okay. But anyway, yeah.
Okay.
Who is Carol Mbokodo?
So Carol Imbogodo is also a musician initially.
How?
Yeah. So I met Moment Empire. I know him as Moment Empire in the music industry. So I met
Okay,
him.
can you say that again slow? But the last name.
Moment Empire.
No, don't say the moment.
Empire.
Empire.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to Empire.
Yes, shout out to Empire.
Can you say T Empire as well?
T Empire.
But not him, another T.
Oh, another one. Yeah, so yeah, I'm a musician. So I met Moment Empire through the music industry. So then when we met, and then he then shared this vision. Then I said, you know what? It's something that I relate to, you know,
Okay.
as a woman. So I relate so much. So because things that affect women, things that affect youth, you know, in general. It's something that I relate so much. So then we came together and then we worked together on this vision.
Oh, on this vision, not this vision. Okay, then Onesimo.
Yeah, so the name, as you said, Onesimo, I'm a young man with an old soul, I could say.
Closer to the mic, yeah.
I'd love to believe that I'm 10 years older than my age. That's the ego in me. But yeah,
What? Are you a rapper as well? Because
no,
now you're starting to sound like-
I'm not.
You hang around a lot with rappers.
I am.
Okay.
Yeah. So my passion is education. It's one thing that I always talk about. And I think that's my biggest role. It's not written down. I just assign it to myself. Just preaching this education thing, right? So I'm a public speaker. I do public speaking. Then that's what I do. That's what I love, and that's what I'm hoping to teach in the foundation as well. I'm hoping to have an impact on that. So yeah.
So I like the fact that you know, the diversity amongst you is such that you are not all going to be concentrating on one thing. But why the concept of GBV?
I mean, if you look at what's happening in the country right now, we're living in a different world where every day we have to hear that a woman has been murdered, a woman has been killed, a woman has been, you know, abducted. So with or no, it's what everybody should participate in if we want to make sure that we bring a society into a different, you know, safe environment for women. And we want to make sure that women are valued, you know. In that, we need everybody else to participate in. It cannot be only women to find solution to what is happening, but everybody else needs to come to the party.
Allow me to join on that, Stan.
Yes.
One of the things I realized, right, is that GBV was not only about physical abuse, right? It had more to it. And you only know about such if you're educated on GBV, right? So I'm like, okay, so there's also an education problem here. It's not only the societal problem that we talk about, there's an education problem. So what about to spread the message? So where's the messaging? On social media, so on television, social media, I'm talking about these applications. So I was like, okay, if someone is actually practicing this but not on those platforms, how do they get the information? Like, okay, Active Youngins will do that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which is actually a very nice and interesting concept that you actually come up with. Now, and taking from what you have just mentioned now, when we say gender-based violence, why the emphasis is on the woman, not also on the man?
Okay. So there's been a lot of patriarchal conversations we've been having about the issues of patriarchy and everything around that, right? And with that came abuse, right? And we also had the idea that women cannot protect themselves. So that's why the emphasis is there. The idea behind society is that, oh, if you are male and you're abused by a male, like slowly, you know, you can do that. But with the female, it's more of a power problem, empowerment problem, and also the history that they've gone through. So I think that's why the emphasis is more on female, and for all the right reasons, I support it.
I mean, we need to actually understand that we live in a 21st century where women are not expected to sit at home, look after the children as they were back then. We need to understand that they are leading in terms of taking positions. By the way, the chairperson of Active Youngins is Carol.
Okay.
So you can actually see what we're talking about. We implementing what we say. We are what we do. You know? Yeah.
Is it? Did you choose her because she's a woman, or does she fit the position?
To answer that, she fits the position.
Okay.
Whenever we bite our head around, she's the one to say this is the solution.
Oh,
You know?
okay.
So it was not because she's a woman.
No, I was just.
You just wanted to emphasize this thing.
But do you see the aura, like when he was explaining that, she says yes, yes. she even you know, she even stepped forward a little bit so that you can be able to say.
She knows her position.
No, I think the idea, because you know, when we formed the foundation, we actually wanted people who have actually experienced you know, the issues, the social ills that are happening around. And like I couldn't be the better person because I myself have experienced gender-based violence, you know. So it's not just the talk, we're not talking statistics here, we're not talking social media, so we're talking experience, you know, because in order to relate to people, you must be the person who has actually walked through the process.
Oh, okay.
You know, so whenever we're addressing these young people, we're talking about something that we know, you know, because we have gone through the process.
And you guys, you've got a couple of events that have been lined up. You know, there is about, I don't know whether we should call it fashion, although, you know, this beauty pageant has to do with fashion and all of those things. But see, what I like about them is that, you know, there are maybe interviews where you can, you're going to be able to see whether a person has beauty and brains at the same time. Can you take us through some of those events that you're going to have?
Okay, the big one that everybody else is looking for now is the one we're doing on the 7th. We're doing a beauty pageant. You would ask yourself, why beauty pageant? We're a foundation that looks out for creative sector. That's the most neglected sector in the whole country. I mean, artists are out there hustling on their own, but at the same time, you know, the struggles there. So we decided to say, no, let's accommodate them, but let's not forget what is happening. You know, gender-based violence is there, and we need to make sure we do our part. So we you know, combine our ideas around, and then boom, it came to say, let's have a Miss Rosentenville. And if I would come to a Rosentenville, you would know it's an area of crime, it's an area, you know, of, we don't even have events that are happening there.
Bad association.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. We don't have events that are happening there. We don't have anything that is speaking to the art that is happening in the area. So it's just an area that is very, you know, behind in things. So we're there trying to push that, come closer to the creative industry as well. So we're doing a beauty pageant. On the 7th, we're looking for Miss Rosentenville, the face of Rosentenville, the princess of Rosentenville. Yeah, all the entrance is still open for Rosentenville. In fact, we are accommodating the whole South.
Oh,
so
okay.
we're not only, you know, boxing to say only Rosentenville. We're looking at the, you know, the surrounding areas as well. Yeah.
So if someone actually ask, how do I enter even if I'm not from Rosentenville? What's the entry process for them?
I think for now, we are targeting Johannesburg South, you know, because this is our first event. So in the future, we're planning to go like wide, you know. So I think for people who want to join, you know, to send their entries, they can actually contact us through our social media page. So it's called the Active Youngins Foundation, or they can send an email address to what's our email address?
activeyoungins@gmail.com.
Yeah.
activeyoungins@gmail.com.
Yeah, and I've also circulated my numbers where most of the entries are coming through. WhatsApp number, which is 062 149 0909. Yeah, they can just WhatsApp me, and then I'm actually adding them to the contestants group where all the communication is being, you know, sent. Yeah.
Let's go a little bit onto then education now, where Onesimo was talking about education, to say it's one of the tools that actually has to be used in order to be able to empower the society. I mean, you coming from a society that I think is a bit volatile for me, which you know, need some kind. I wouldn't say some kind, but we all need to be educated in as far as how our life are supposed to shape. So, what are your focal points with regard to education?
Okay, so the education that's probably in your mind is curriculum education, right? and was just delivering this message just last week, if I'm not mistaken. The message behind this was that I'm talking about education of curiosity. You know, what is it that's happening around you? You won't believe what I'm about to tell you. There is a young lady, I think like 2 months ago, I had asked who's the president of South Africa, and they did not know the name. So you can tell that there's lack of curiosity in our people, right? And curiosity, this is a quote from John Maxwell, says, you only get answers to the questions that you ask, right? And questions come from curiosity. Curiosity is then the first step to education. Education is not sitting at school in a classroom with a lecture in front of you. It's actually using whatever you have to get information. So the education that I'm actually trying to drive is actually education of curiosity. Let's create this curiosity trait, this curiosity characteristic, and move forward, right? And as an organization, let's try push information. Let's try educate those people wherever they are.
You know, we've got different tags and terms that we give ourselves. I think as people, you hear somebody will say, I am a social media influencer.
Yes.
And then the other one will say, I am an infopreneur. And then one will say, I am an academic, and all of those things. But all in all, I think it talks to the issue that you are actually talking about, where our people, I think especially the youth, need to be educated about the life and the community and environment that they're actually finding themselves in. So in as far as all of you, I think, are concerned with the Active Youngins Foundation, are you, beside those other activities that are doing, are you like part of that very community that you're coming from, or you just went into the community, you identified that community, or you live within the community?
Well, as Jimmy mentioned, there's no better person to fix a problem than someone who has experienced it, right? We actually live in the area. We spent a good amount of years in the area, so based on my age, I've been in the area for 21 years now. So
how old are you?
21.
Okay.
Yeah, you put me on the spot, I don't like sharing my age. But yeah.
Is that, in fact, before we even get there, because I like to ask this question, are you, do you have phobia about sharing your age, or why would you feel a bit hesitant to talk about your age?
It's been taken serious, Constant. When you walk into spaces and you say I'm 21, automatically there's a stereotype, if I may use the word, behind that. Like, oh, he's young, he has no experience, probably does not know what he's talking about, he still needs guidance. So, as I introduce myself, I think I have a soul of a 30-year-old, right? I mean it. So the phobia around the age, if I may use that, is actually being taken serious. I think we've got a very big problem of age here and youth not taken serious. And if we can kill that, I think it will open more doors to better work.
Maybe that can be, I think, a discussion for other day, because I think I hold a totally different view with regard to age and ageism, you know?
Yes.
If there is such a term.
Ageism.
if there is, so you both live in the same area?
Yeah, we live in the area. I've been in Rosentenville.
Actually, I called Jimmy a mayor of Rosentenville.
Also, it's known. Is that
Yeah,
why
yeah, no.
Jimmy.
Yes.
Okay,
So he's the mayor there. So if you want to know anything about Rosentenville,
Okay.
he's the go-to guy.
Okay. You are saying that in order for you to understand the problem of a specific area, you have to be in that specific area to be able to talk about that problem and also talk about solution, instead of having to get somebody who does not even live there and come and talk about the problems that you are facing. You mentioned the issue of crime.
Yes.
What do you think are the reasons why the youth, or even not only the youth, but people would resort to crime in that specific area?
I think according to my experience, you know, in Rosentenville, because I've also stayed in Rosentenville for quite some time, I think the lack of social support, you know, job opportunities that are not there, you know, also, you know, you can't exempt the issue of drugs and substance abuse in that area, you know. So I think for me, those are the ones that I can pick up. So I don't know.
So when you're looking at the foundation and the way it is, Active Youngin, right? Just to push the foundation, how does the community take the foundation itself, especially Rosentenville?
Wow.
Well, Active Youngins is new as a foundation, but we the support that we've been getting from the community is amazing, man. They come in, you know, in numbers whenever we have a program. I mean, we're partnering with the other, you know, stakeholders that are there. Just like last week, we had an empowerment program where we were unpacking, discussing all the youth issues that are there. You're talking about drugs, your unemployment, you know. So we're trying to make sure that the community is part and parcel of what we're doing, which is, we're happy with the results so far. They support the foundation so much.
And with that happening, I believe that the whole foundation is just to develop the community in a way, because you already see the problems and the things that are happening with it. So the educational side, also a question. Since it's so far known for its gender-based movement that's pushing right now, right? On air, as we speak.
It's the theme is for
The
theme for the event.
The theme for the event, as stated. What would be the biggest or the mindset goal that you would want to achieve in terms of educating based on gender-based violence?
Girl, you can do it as well, right? So Jimmy explained the history before that young girls were not allowed to be educated. They would sit at home. They would help their mother or go with the different chores, and the male would be expected to actually go hustle for the family, for my use the word. So we're trying to change the mindset now that, hey, you can actually be educated, you can actually occupy the spaces, you can actually occupy certain positions. So I think that is the mindset that we're trying to instill in young girls, that it is possible, the time is now, and if you don't start now, we'll be meeting again in the next 20 years, 40 years, speaking about the very same problem, same solutions.
So what about the mind of the young male?
Okay, this is not exclusive, right?
Yeah.
But we just have confidence that that has been allowed to us by history, that the young man has always got it. The society always tells the young man that you are the head of our house, you will make it possible, you will change the family, you will change this community, right? So society has helped us for many years, right, to actually instill that mindset. So it's not, remember, as much as we try not to be exclusive, we should actually accept the fact that there's a history behind it, right? So there's been a lot of history behind the male mindset, but if there's a bigger problem that we have not yet anticipated or seen, we're willing to work on that.
But also on the male, just to add, I mean, if we look at the pressure that a man has growing up, I mean, the society expects you to be, you know, the head of a family. Sometimes that pressure on its own, you know, it can turn you to something which, you know, you don't want to be. Yeah.
Now, it's exactly 16:59 right at VMC Planet Radio. You're still chilling with Mr. Stan and Vision, and we have Active Youngins Foundation. We are talking all issues young. We're also talking about education, not education in terms of the curriculum, but education of knowledge of self and knowledge of your surrounding environment. And we have Jimmy, Onesimo, and Carol. They are the pioneers of the Active Youngins Foundation. When we come back, we have to go and pay bills. When we come back, we'll discuss more about societal issues that we find ourselves in. You know, Active Youngins Foundation, these are very interesting young people. The good thing about them is that they are not without a smile.
Yeah, forever smiling.
They are not without a smile. And because this is a hip hop show, you can tell, I mean, and they look like they're fashionista. I mean, you look at Jimmy, you
Yes.
look at the mask. Eh?
Two-tone now.
because I see it's okay. This color I'm gonna get it right.
Okay.
It's red and white, right?
Yes, no, that's why you
and that mask, you know, in a winter.
You know what?
You can see the threads, right? And
Yes.
those are not cheap. I think they are the most expensive of that mask.
Yes. Jimmy's a rapper. He's dancing right now with a mask. Yeah.
And then Jimmy looks good on those earphones and the microphone.
It's his home ground.
It's his home ground.
Home ground
He's
advantage.
a white guy.
Yeah. So let's talk about something that Carol, you mentioned, right? In terms of besides social ills, but you know, social support. Is there something that a person can be able to do if they have not, you know, they are not receiving the social support? If I'm not receiving something, do I still sit and wait for somebody to do something?
Look, I think as Onesimo has said, the first thing that we need to do is to raise curiosity, right? Tell the young people about the skills that are there, right? And during our engagement last week, I think one of the things that we picked up is that our young people are not lazy, right? So most of them, they do have ideas. They know exactly what they want to do. They were actually giving us ideas, you know. But I think what is missing, the support that is lacking at the moment, it's the resources, you know. So they don't know how to get the resources, especially from our government, the resources from our local communities, because they've got big ideas, they've got projects that they want to do, but they don't have income, they don't have resources, they don't know where to go. So I think that's the support that our young people are looking for. And currently there is no one who's out there to meet them halfway and to assist them.
Okay, let me be slightly controversial, right? I've heard that, and this is what I've heard from quite a number of people, right? Sometimes you do what is called painful comparison, right? You look at the youth of South Africa, right? You'll find Kitu as young as he is. He will prefer to go and find a job that will allow him to wear a suit and tie and earn, let's say, 1,500 rand a month, right? And then somebody that is coming out of South Africa from, let's say, I don't want to use the word a foreigner, same age as Pinto, will come and go to, let's say, Market City Deep. I'm just going to use City Deep because it's closer to you guys.
Yes.
And go and stock up on bananas and vegetables. And then they will sell and get, let's say, about 3,000 a month profit. Why do we have the youth in South Africa that wouldn't be willing to stand in the street and do this? Is it because of how they've been socialized, or what is this? And I said I want to be controversial when I ask this question.
Well, I think according to my knowledge, when you compare youth of South Africa with other countries, you know, I think these are just these are stereotypes, you know, because you know, when we grew up, we were told that after matric, you should go to varsity, you know. So if you go to a technical school, you know, you go and do your vocational training. So you were being seen as a failure, you know. So when you compare South Africa with other countries, you find out, like if you go to China, you realize that they actually emphasize on technical skills. So they take their youth to these vocational training technical schools. Hence, they are able to work with their hands, you know. So they are very good in working with their hands. But us, You go to varsity, you just learn theory, everything is about theory. And when you graduate, you don't know how to apply the theory that you've learned from varsity.
Let's hold that thought. Like, I see Jimmy is burning inside.
Now, I would say it's more the same. The way we grew up back home, we were told that if you finish matric, you need to go to university, and there would be an example that look at Umdana Gamakhelwane, she's doing well in university. Even if you don't want to go to university, you want to do something else. So you need to do that because it's what is everybody saying.
Socialization, okay. So because here, the reason why I was asking that question, before I get back to to you, Carol, I want you to maybe talk about the same issue.
Oh, okay. So it's also how we grow up, Stan. So we grow up with the mama who sells tomatoes on the corner, right? Takes us to school, and the messaging is that I need you to be better than this, right? And the image that we have of being better is a suit, nice job in the corporate world, certain car, marriage at a certain age.
It's materialistic.
Yes. So when you get to a certain age and life starts showing you what it really is, right? It's hard to humble yourself and be like, let me become like Umama, you know? Let me go back to that corner, let me sell those tomatoes, let me, you know, it's really hard. It's a humble problem. It's hard to humble yourself at that point. It's a perspective problem, socialization, it's all of that. We're always trying to run for more, and more has been defined to us in that way. It's in suits and certain work positions.
Okay, you were talking about skills, Carol. And this is, I don't know why I would personally have a problem with the mentality, though, right? Not your mentality. I'm talking about this mentality of education, like the curriculum, for instance. Because if you were to go to university today and you are learning a certain skill or a certain subject, the way in which life is evolving and the fast pace we find ourselves in, by the time you finish your degree, that very same skill might be obsolete, right? Is there a way in which we can be able to educate our people to learn those vocational skills that you were talking about?
Well, I think
to make them proud to be a bricklayer, for instance, a plumber, a mechanic, or an electrician, for instance.
Well, I think yes. I think it starts with our secondary school. I think there's a lot that needs to happen there. You know, our kids needs to be taught. You know, because kids are different. You know, not all of them will go to university. You know, so our government needs to come in. You know, we need to have more of these what is it called? Those exhibition career guidance at schools, because we need psychosocial support to come to schools. So there's a lot that needs to happen in that level, you know, so that kids, before they even graduate, you know, during in their matric level, they should have a clear picture, you know, of what they want to do, you know, with their future. So I think it's very important. Even us as parents, we need to encourage our kids, to tell them that, you know, they are not failures, you know, when they take a specific direction in life.
So when you guys are closer to the event, right? Will you be willing just to give us the feedback report on how things are actually happening?
Definitely.
Or any times that.
So it's exactly 17:12. We have gone beyond that time that we have allocated. But thanks a lot, guys, for coming through. I think you guys are very fun as well. You know.
We are.
We also enjoyed
We've got the juice.
You see the rapper comes back now. We got the juice.
We got the juice.
Just needed to say got the splur.
So So it is exactly 17:13 right here at VMC Planet Radio. The show is called Second to None, today on the 10th of 10th. Have you realized that today, if you look in terms of the date, there's 4 zeros?
Oh wow.
And you've got Active Youngins in studio.
No, but thanks a lot for blessing us with your presence. We are taking a video. We'll post this on YouTube, and please do like your own video, and please subscribe as well. VMC Planet Radio is fastest growing online radio. By maybe December, you will still be able to catch us even if you don't have data, because we are going onto the frequency as well. As we speak, we've got about 11,700 listenership. So the amount of people that are listening to you, you will never guess. But I'm telling you this, you might have influenced somebody else out there that wants to do the same thing. What are your last words?
Shout out to Active Youngins in the whole South Africa.
Oh, okay.
And also we would like to, we appreciate this opportunity. We are so happy, guys. We are so grateful that you've given us this platform to share with the young people out there and your audience at large. So we say thank you so much.
Okay.
Young people, stay active, stay united, and always be curious.
You see, when a young person speak and they're the last people to speak, right?
he needed you wanted to show his 30 years.
Do you see the age coming out? 30 years?
He start with a smile and say, yeah, then I've got the last words.
You have to show his 30 years.
And then thank you so much, guys. And because your the chairperson is a woman, we'll also play